Hi, your Sacred Wealth Code, Prema Gurreri here, and today I'm bringing you the energy of your teacher, the teacher archetype, which is ruled by Jupiter. All of Jupiter's archetypes are expansive by nature. Jupiter is one of the brightest planets in the sky and is a Brahmin. What Jupiter wants for itself, what the teacher wants for itself, wants for everyone. And that's why the energy of the teacher is to know, is to grow. The teacher fosters growth. And you, as being a teacher with your unique identifiers in what makes your teacher so unique to you, is the way that you support others to grow through knowledge. So you're knowledgeable, intelligent, very growth oriented, and there's a trustability that you have. And that's why people come to you to learn what it is that you have to teach them, whether that is strictly a knowledge-based information, whether that's a skill, a way to do something, a way of being. Sometimes a teacher gives information or teaches simply by your way of being and by your energy. People gravitate to you because they want your qualities. And some of the qualities, again, are that deep understanding, that trustability, that ability to be compassionate and communicate. You're just prosperous by nature and social, very much social. You want to connect in with other people. Think about it. If you're a teacher, there's got to be others to give that information, because the fact is you are a conduit for the knowledge. You're a conduit for the information. It doesn't come, you're not the source of it, but you're a conduit because you are working with the divine. So to know is to grow is your mantra. The soul desire is to illuminate and artfully communicate knowledge which uplifts humanity. To be a conduit for learning, growth, and to change the world, that's the purpose. And, as a teacher, you are this creative communicator. You believe that to know is to grow. And so I want you to think about for a moment what you're a teacher of. What you're a teacher of. And this may be many things that you're a teacher of, but there are things that you really believe to know will help others grow. I believe that if you know how to live from the inside out, and you know how to manage your mind and tap into your deep soul wisdom and understand how you're wired up and what your divine gifts are, then by using those, we can not only serve the world, but we can be uplifted ourselves, have deeper meaning. These are things that I believe are really important for me to teach. For you, maybe that's plant and herbal medicine. Maybe that is communication itself. Maybe it is a particular type of wisdom or knowledge or writing, or how to put yourself out in the world through a marketing way. What is yours to teach? Maybe you're a language teacher. Maybe you teach some relationships and love. What is it that is yours to teach that you believe really? And the more that people learn this, the more that they grow, the more that they grow, the more they uplift humanity. So if you're not clear on what it is that you do teach, and it can be broad, it can be the essence of what you teach, the energy of it, or it could be really specific. You can, if you want to take a moment and just pause and make a list of all the things that people come to you for. What do you find yourself just giving information about? You can't sort of help yourself but give information. Or what do people come to you for? So you can go ahead and think about that for a moment, or if you want to pause this training and make a list, that's a great thing to do, just to show yourself what it is that you're really interested in, and maybe what it is you'd like to even teach more of. So you have a really high intellect, very intellectual, kind, social, and generous. And the dedication that you have to supporting others is one of the prime movers behind what it is that you're here and you're giving. You have this unique way that you do teach, and you can also show up as being a mentor and a coach and a tutor and an advocate and professional. There's lots of different ways that you can show up besides actually having the label of a teacher. But the main thing you want to recognize is that you are a conduit for learning. You create the environment, you provide what's needed for someone else to learn, and ultimately you're teaching someone. It's like you're giving them a piece of power, you're giving them information, you're teaching them how to do something, a way of being, so that they can go and be empowered with that off in the world and again use it to uplift humanity. So you're aware of your high value currencies of understanding and communication. So you've got to understand what it is that you're teaching. And you understand that because you're like a voracious learner when it comes to whatever it is that you do teach. You can't help but dig in and learn more and more about that. Rebecca, for instance, she loves words and language, and when she digs in and learns as much of that as she can, and she even practices a methodology that is all about understanding the roots of all words and spelling and where words come from and how they relate to each other, and she completely geeks out on it, and she teaches it as well. So what is it for you that you can't help but learn? And you probably absorb a lot of information that maybe you're not even aware that you are purposefully doing, but just because you have that great interest and you're like a sponge and you soak it up, and then you become so full it spills over and you have to give it to other people. Your practical use of knowledge is really one of your great gifts too, and finding different ways to disseminate that knowledge, to give it to others. So really notice, what is the way? Is it just simply speaking? Are you animated? Do you teach kinesthetically? Do you teach through metaphor? Do you need to get your hands on and show somebody something? Are you very creative in your teaching? Is it a spiritual basis? Notice some of these. The way you tick with your teaching is really important. So the teacher understands that you can know the what of something and the how of something, but it's not enough to keep people interested. Not only keep people interested, but have whatever it is that you're teaching, actually someone retain it and then be able to assimilate, integrate, and use it. The why of it is incredibly important, and that's the purpose of whatever it is that you're teaching. You have this unique ability to connect that up with what it is the person desires, why it's important to them, why it's important to learn this. And I remember, like in 6th grade, I remember one of my classmates, she did not want to learn math, and she would just push and shove against the subject because she said, I'm not going to use it. I can't see any reason why. And at the time, the teacher couldn't give her a good reason why. And I loved math, so I gave her some of the reasons I thought it was really useful to understand some things. But had that teacher been able to give her the why it makes sense to her, why it was important, then for any of us, when something has a purpose to it, it'll pull us into it and pull us forward. So you are masterful at that, and I encourage you to really hone in on that piece of whatever it is that you're teaching or you want to be teaching. What's the purpose of it for the individual or collectively in general? And really connect in with that why first for your students, for others that you're teaching, and they'll just be hungry for what it is you have to give them. Like I said, teaching is a superpower that's not exclusive to being a teacher. And you may do this in many different professions, many different ways of doing things. But again, you're disseminating information. And remember, you're a conduit. You're co-collaborating with the divine. You're co-collaborating with others. You're tapping into universal knowledge. You're tapping into subjects that people have been diving into for time and time again. And then you're noticing what's new and different about it, putting your unique spin on it, and then sending it out into the world and giving it to others with your unique flavor. So whatever your wealth code is and your unique identifiers, maybe you're more of that spiritual teacher or the inspirational teacher. Your Sacred Wealth Code is the place where purpose and prosperity meet in your soul blueprint. It's really your sweet spot for wealth. And your Sacred Wealth Code reading isn't just about the financial side of life. Your reading will introduce you to your unique gifts. I like to call them your highest value gifts that will empower you in wealth, in love, in health, relationships, business, all the important areas of life, and really strengthen your connection to your soul. You'll be introduced to your personal guides, your archetypes. They're unique to you and your soul blueprint. And these archetypes represent the most powerful aspects of yourself. We all have all the archetypes within us, but your Sacred Wealth Code has 3 to 5 very unique ones based on your soul blueprint. So you can grab your reading. There is a link down below in the description. You can also get the free Sacred Wealth Code quiz, where you'll get one of your Sacred Wealth Code archetypes by taking the quiz. And my book, Your Sacred Wealth Code, Unlock Your Soul Blueprint for Prosperity and Purpose, is available on Amazon and on my website. Link is down below. And so is the Oracle cards and the journal. Maybe you've got that healing quality with your teaching, or maybe you're very grounded and practical. You want to make sure to bring that element through and really own it, like it's your own, because that will make your uniqueness, your genius come forward even more. You don't need to be like anybody else. You're so brilliant being you, that you want to embrace more and more of you. So take a moment to just pause, and what is it that you just most love to teach? What is it you most love to teach? This may be one subject, it may be a flavor of things, maybe you stopped and did that list earlier, and whatever it is that you are really here to teach today, because this is an evolutionary process. Some people will teach one thing and then another thing, and some people will teach one thing and go deeper in that subject for a lifetime. Whatever that is, what's one way that you could step more fully into that role of teaching? Maybe you're shying away from it. Maybe you don't feel like it's accepted in your current career or profession or business. How could you bring it in more? Because this is where purpose and prosperity meets for you. And the more you step into being your teacher, that brilliance that you have, the more of it that'll be animated through you. This is one of the things about your Sacred Wealth Code and your archetypes. The more you interact with your archetypes, the best of you is what you're interacting with. And like this guide, these guides, these wealth counsel, what will happen for you is you will be informed continually. When you go to teach a lesson, for instance, or maybe you're showing up for a coaching or a mentoring session, maybe you're teaching a class, maybe you're giving a presentation and your teacher needs to come out. You can consult with that teacher, have your teacher actually help you in create what it is that you're doing, or evoke that energy of the teacher as you are actually before you go in and teach, and you will be surprised at what comes through you. It's bringing the best of you with you. So some of those great gifts of being a teacher is the high value gifts. Remember, not what you're good at, but what has the highest value. And that's your knowledge, your connectivity. You're just a great communicator. You're inspiring. The information you teach is inspiring in your own unique way. You're practical. You're very wise and supportive. You're a mentor and looked to as a mentor. You're trustable because you're respectful with the information, and people can rely on you and trust you. And you have a strong presence about you. You're a light, and people are drawn to you. Now that's a short list. I want to invite you to make a longer list, or to circle the words in this list of your high value gifts, the ones that really resonate to you. Make your own list, but really come down to at least a handful of what you really feel like are your highest value gifts, your highest value gifts. So that connectivity is one of my highest value gifts, being able to meet people where they're at and then walk them along the path to where it is they want to go within my realm, and wake them up to the answers that are already inside of themselves. Those are some of my gifts. Identify what yours are and start using more of your high value gifts instead of what you're just good at. So the Inspired Action Plan, if this one doesn't resonate for you, the general Inspired Action Plan for being a teacher, then write your own. I align with higher knowledge to nourish and grow myself first, and then use my unique genius of teaching to compassionately and generously serve others. As a teacher, you're a giver. And again, I believe in that if we're all giving our greatest gifts, that the world is blessed, we're blessed. We all have an abundance of what we need, want, and desire. And we're fulfilled, we're deeply fulfilled because our lives have deep meaning to them. And we also are prosperous because of being on purpose as well. So create your own inspired action plan if that one doesn't work for you. If it does, keep it in front of you always so that you're aligned with that inspired action plan. There's also the shadow of the teacher. And with the shadow of the teacher, this is all about letting it go to your head, basically letting go to your ego that you know a lot. It's that overconfidence, that using knowledge to manipulate or control others, arrogant. The shadow of the teacher shows up like all shadows do when you are stressed. When you are doing too much as a teacher, you are giving out a lot. And when you forget to put your own oxygen mask on first, when you don't take care of yourself first, you're burned out. And then you slip into the ego and you don't make such great judgment calls. When you lose connection with the divine, you believe that you know it all. And the problem with knowing it all, even if you know a lot, is if you don't retain that beginner's mind, what happens is you stop learning. Your well will dry up. And you are in your ego because you believe that you're the one who knows, instead of opening up and you're this great conduit for knowledge to flow through you, to serve with, and to grow yourself with. Your fulfillment is in there too. So you have to have that beginner's mind. It's really important. You're a student for life. You have to be able to really tap in and continue to tap in with the divine. Tap in with your deep connectedness to the source of your being, where all knowledge comes from. When you are stressed, you can get into that arrogant way and, high and mighty, the need to be right, which makes others wrong. That's the biggest problem with the need to be right, is someone has to be wrong. Everyone can have a different viewpoint. If you're stressed, if you're burnt out, you're in your ego, you may end up needing to be right, the teacher that's right, the one who corrects too much. No, let's nurture, let's foster the growth. Let's say yes and, not no and, which is correcting. When someone's wrong, it just doesn't feel good. You know what it's like to be made wrong. And the only reason we make somebody else wrong is to make ourselves right. And it's a power play. And you don't need that power play. But you do, the ego thinks it needs that power play when you are disconnected from source, because where else are you going to get the power? See, when you're connected to the source of your being, there is enough power for everyone and everything. So watch when your reserves get low, because then you'll be jockeying for power and hurting others by doing that. You'll lose the respect and the trust that people have in you. And they think about, I'm sure you have plenty of stories where young people and to mature people alike have gone to teachers, spiritual teachers, teachers in university and school, for the knowledge they had to give, but also got persuaded into something else, some manipulative way of being manipulated that was hurtful to them. And I'm not saying you're going to do that, but even just watching the shadow side, if you're even on an on-ramp to that, because it costs you energy, and you're straddling that line of, am I in my ego or am I connected to the source of my being? And that's why you want to be aware of your shadow. You also, some of your greatest gifts are really hiding right behind where you close off and you shut down, where you could be opening bigger. And we'll do some more of that. Get into more of that with clearing those beliefs. So if you find yourself in that shadow energy, you're stressed, you're burnt out, you're far from co-creating with the divine, and you're not growing. You're trying to, again, jockey for power. So it's time for you to have some fun, to rejuvenate with a soul-inspiring retreat that will let you reconnect with the source of your being, really absorb just for yourself and not have to give out at all, not figure anything out. So make sure to take good care of yourself. But if you're in the shadow, all you ever have to do is stop, realize you are, come back to center again, and then restart. Okay, the shadow isn't wrong. It's part of the full spectrum. It's part of the full spectrum. We just want to get back into the light as soon as we can. So use your tapping in questions regularly with your teacher, both for the shadow, both for the positive side of yourself. And as an inspired action, I want to invite you to today step out and give your gift. What's something you want to teach? And I get this one a lot from people who are attracted to me. There's things you want to teach that people aren't coming to you for. You're teaching other things that are just kind of things you're good at. I want you to take a risk. And I want you to find a way to teach something that so makes your heart sing. Whether you cut a video, whether you call a friend up who's a trusted source who you know would love to have that information, whether you feel like it's something that would just uplift somebody and you gift it to them somehow, whether you create a workshop or a class, stretch into your high value gifts and let's see what happens. All right. Blessings and have a beautiful day.